Welcome to episode 9 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents First Issue.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes. You can find out more about First Issue at firstissue.webcomicbeacon.com. And with our first stint, we're doing the new DC 52 relaunch, reboot, whatever, publicity stunt from DC Comics, the new 52.
Stint is such a sorry word.
Which means that there's going to be 52 episodes of this.
There will be.
And we're only at...
we'll edit it all.
Yeah, we're only at number 9 with number 1 of Swamp Thing.
It is. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, shit.
Anyway, so we have this cover of Swamp Thing. I remember, I think, a TV series or a movie.
The big green guy is back.
They call me Swamp Thing.
You're a plant, aren't you?
He's come back to settle the score.
Way back when, I barely remember anything of it.
I remember the toys. Toys were awesome.
I think I remember like the sex scene sort of thing from the series or movie when she Swamp Thing or something. I don't really remember much of anything. So
I think you're making stuff up.
All I remember is at some point you whooped Batman's ass.
Well, no, he like pulled off a piece of himself that looked like a Brussels sprout and shared it with this woman. If I can find that video, I'll try to splice it in, but I have no freaking idea where
I remember that in a comic.
possibly come. But, so we got this cover, and we got Swamp Thing, bruh, coming out of the swamp.
Muck.
And I have to say, the one thing that really distracts me about this cover is this foreground. This lazy-ass mirrored foreground, which...
Well, it's not. It's
mirrored. It's mirrored. It is mirrored. It's lazy.
It's very Art Deco, though.
I mean, there's a frog here covered up by the barcode, but it's like it looks
a framing element.
It looks nice on its own, but it looks out of place with the background. I think this cover would have been much stronger without that part, just kind of coming up out of the water. It's kind of distracting for me, and it looks it's very different art style. I don't think it works. I think it would work much better without.
I think it would be cooler if the Art Deco art followed through the entire cover, though. That would be
like cool. if everything was completely symmetrical, I think it could work a little bit better. I understand why they didn't do that, because Swamp Thing is a very intriguing looking character, and he actually looks better when he's asymmetrical, or at least implied to be so. If he's completely symmetrical, then his body looks more like a costume and less like, you know, natural foliage kind of.
Because he's Swamp Thing. He's a growing. He's a plant man.
But I can't give you the kind of love you want.
Why not?
I'm a plant.
That's okay. I'm a vegetarian.
Well, at least until you open the cover.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, that's another thing where it's like, well, first of all, we open it up, we see...
Apparently he was Clark Kent for one page.
We see Superman, and then we see...
With narration,
Batman,
and I assume it's his. And
Aquaman.
So it's like, and then they're all like pointing to their heads like, And it's like, okay,
no,
what does this have to do with Swamp Thing?
It's the president has entered the room thing.
Really? I thought they were all psychic. I really was kind of
yeah, they're trying to communicate psychically. It's like, basically, everything's dying around the metropolis. Birds are dying, and bats are dying in the bat cave, and fish are dying.
Like violently. One of the fish is in half.
Yeah, it's like the event. But then we cut to this guy working with the construction, and
I was Swamp Thing once. I was once a contender.
No, he's
real man.
No, he's not even doing that.
Yeah,
he's not doing any of that. We just see this guy, and
I wasn't even sure it was him at first. I thought it was Superman talking on the first page.
We're thinking about build up, and then it's like, okay, there's a couple of these old guys. Okay, I'm wondering. Okay, we've seen 3 superheroes. Where's Swamp Thing? And then we see some shit happening somewhere else, where some stuff is happening.
Was it somewhere else, or was it there?
No.
I think that's somewhere else.
This is somewhere else. Okay, there's like a scavenge thing going on, and and it's like, so more stuff happening. Cut back to construction job with guy doing stuff that we don't know who this person is.
I'm entertained by how many of these plots you're describing by woo.
I was just more entertained by the fact that I was just kind of confused. And I understand he was too. And I liked the character. I liked this dude, but I was sort of on the weird side, I'm like, okay, what type of story are they trying to tell? Mm-hmm. And
I was thinking, were they going for origin here? Or?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Is this an origin thing? Is this? I knew it was. I was getting by the way they started to talk. This is post a lot of stuff, presumably the Alan Moore stuff. I really didn't read his Swamp Thing. I read more of his independent work, so I'm not very familiar with Swamp Thing. Sue me. But what I thought is, okay, maybe it's going to be a horror book, kind of like Animal Man, where you're going through it, and it's not necessarily a traditional superhero tale. Maybe he's not always Swamp Thing. Maybe he'll become Swamp Thing again. Then Superman shows up, and I'm suddenly confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know until this guy used to be Swamp Thing, until he said so. How many pages in? It's like, so we're...
I think Clark here's the one who tell. Maybe it's a little bit earlier than that. But.
Yeah. And then, so we have Superman checking in, like, seeing if he has something to do with it, because he's Swamp Thing, so he would know about birds and bats and fish dying all at once.
Yeah, he's Yoda, you kind of can feel the Earth. He's kind of like Captain Planet, but cool. That's kind of the impression I kind of got about Swamp Thing.
The original concept of Swamp Thing is that Swamp Thing was an EC horror book, kind of.
Yeah.
It was a horror property, but in kind of the classic vein of horror, in which the first 12 issues he would meet Frankenstein, he would meet the Wolfman, and he would kind of go through all these classic horror characters, and. Later it got kind of psychotropic, once Alan Moore got hold of it, and it's always been a very interesting property. Now, what they're doing here is very interesting in that Alec Holland, the guy who turned into Swamp Thing initially, is suddenly just a guy. And he doesn't know what happened. He used to be Swamp Thing.
Or was he?
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
And so people are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
so far, it's Superman presents Swamp Thing, I'm guessing.
And the odd thing about it was, kind of forgetting the rest of the things present in this comic. This was the first comic where I actually got Superman's new design, that armor-ish design. Mm-hmm. It's more to appeal and accentuate the fact that he's an alien.
Well, this is the first time we see. I did want to talk about this. This is the first time we actually see Superman, aside from, I guess, the other issue. But it's like,
in the first Justice League, you see him at the very last.
You're like, why is this suit so complex? What are with all these extra lines?
Yeah, it's very bad from a general design standpoint, but I understand what it's going for. Mm-hmm. Just the way it's drawn here, I'm like, okay, this is kind of like that. The various true Kryptonian Superman outfits they would create over the years, where they would make things that are a play on the Superman outfit, but with much more alien elements. This is toning the alien elements down, but keeping the same feel, where he's not quite an Earth superhero. Earth superheroes wear tights. Superman wears this weird shit. Like, I hate to bring back the specter of Dragon Ball Z, but it's kind of like how they have that armor on, where it's like, this looks... you can understand the function of it, but you guys can fucking blow up planets. What the fuck do you need armor for?
Yeah.
And it's like that with Superman, but it's like, okay, this isn't so much armor as it is design expressing the fact that he's an alien. Cultural design.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on a limb and guess that Ma Kent didn't make this for him, considering we saw him at the beginning of his career. He's wearing a t-shirt with the thing on and jeans. So at some point he has to get this. My guess, Kryptonians.
I do like the Mandarin collar thing with the cape.
It works very well the way it's drawn here. Not in every drawing does that work. Right. Here it's pulled off wonderfully.
Yeah. Speaking of the art, I do love the internal art of this. It's got it's very detailed. It's very good with facial expression.
If this were black and white, it would look good in black and white.
It would look good in black and white.
Wonderful inking.
Yeah, and the color is very good too. The color is simple. It is vibrant. It draws the eye to all the correct elements in each panel very easily. There are moods struck with each scene. Transitions are very clear. The art is really, really
It's
nice.
even easy to see at night when you see at the end.
It's got some really good coloring at night.
Yeah, a lot of times night coloring these days just looks muddy. This is clear, it's sharp, it's easy to tell what's going on, and yet it's very obviously at night.
Say what you can tell what's going on. When you get to like the sequence towards the end, no, you don't know really what the hell is going on.
Well,
but
this
it's
is-
pretty
See what's
interesting.
happening.
You can see what's happening.
Yeah,
But you don't
it's-
know
You
what's
don't
going
know
on.
what's happening.
I'm
You can see what's
reminded of the
happening.
end of Animal Man with this a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
very
definitely
similar.
a horror
It's
comic. It's
Something
Which I thought
crazy
was
going.
cool.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
really creepy, really interesting, and
I
then
really love the way the sequence is drawn too. The panel design is dramatic. It is actually part of the action. It's very nicely done.
except
and
the very ending.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
but
I love the fact that it was all
this
cut
is-
in with this tree.
yeah,
element
this
here.
is and it's
No,
also
the art
deliberately.
looks really good. I'm talking story wise.
Oh, you know, this is supposed to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
Is this supposed to be
deliberate-
the past? Is this the future? Is this a dream? Is he turning back into it? We see Swamp Thing, one panel out of a book called Swamp Thing.
That is correct.
Yep.
Bleh.
Well, if you want to say that maybe the scientist is him all along, so
Well-
maybe you've seen him damn near every panel.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the thing is, just knowing from the storyline presented here, Alec Holland was Swamp Thing. It is the story about this guy, but
It's supposed to be
There's
about
a
Swamp Thing. It's called Swamp Thing. It's not called
the guy
Alan.
was Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
and this
but-
is part of that
But
story.
but then you get a whole bunch of questions at the end. Is like, is issue 2 going to be a fake out and it's going to be a dream? What's going on? Where they're kind of going with this? So there is kind of if you liked Swamp Thing, there might be some interest in here. But I have to
Actually,
give it.
if you-
I have to give it a meh because
Okay.
it's not selling me. I'm more confused than intrigued. There's a lot of good elements. I would check it out if somebody else got it, but I'm not going to go out and buy number 2. There's not enough here. It's teetering on a thumbs up, just almost, but I still have to get a
enough.
meh.
I would have to give it a thumbs up just because, to me, this is a good story. However, if you're looking for superhero action, you may not be finding it. This is a very relatively slow plot-wise story from the perspective of, something that may be superheroic. As a horror story, it's not that bad. It introduces the questions it needs to introduce to freak you out, to make you think, what are these monsters? Is he going to become a monster to combat them? What's going on? As a horror story, absolutely thumbs up. I don't believe it's supposed to be a superhero story, so...
So your final verdict is,
Final verdict is thumbs up.
is succeed. Okay.
I'm going to say thumbs up. I do like Swamp Thing. I was kind
Oh
of
shit, succeed. We can't say thumbs up. That's copyrighted.
It's succeed.
Thumbs up is copyrighted.
Yes.
Okay.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
All right. Edit.
I think.
It's a succeed because I do like Swamp Thing from the past very, very much. I do like. Let's start again.
No, we're going.
All right.
All right. For this, I give a succeed. I am a Swamp Thing fan from the past. I am interested in what they did in this issue. I'm a little weirded out by it, but I am curious where they take it. It could potentially be very interesting. For this issue in and of itself, I'd say it's a slow burn. Kind of iffy on it. The art is beautiful. I would be willing to give it another couple issues to see how it plays out.
All right, and this was issue 1 from the New 52, Swamp Thing.